This video will be about situational bias and logic being thrown out the window when it has to politically match whatever you started off your day believing and don't like changing it. I'm going to bring up a meme from 2012 about the U.S. government buying up an inordinately large number of hollow point bullets to kill Americans. And it was going to the Social Security Administration and the Department of Homeland Security. Now, some of you already know where this is going, but here we go. And they said it was a lie, that these were training rounds for special agents in one of these agencies, because there was 174,000 rounds. Now, we're going to do some math here, and we're going to do quick math and real math. Let's start off with the idea that this was a contract for 174,000 rounds. Now, please understand that they had inflated this to millions of rounds by combining 20 or 30 companies that were trying to put in a bid to provide the ammunition and just added them all together, even though only one of them was going to win the contract. But let's skip it. Let's say it's 174,000 rounds. And this was supposed to be training ammunition for 300 special agents. Now, immediately you could just take the 174,000 rounds and just call it 150,000, just to make the math easy, and divide it by 300. So you divide it by 3, and that works out to 50,000 rounds. Right? Okay. And then if you divide it by 100, that brings it down to a much smaller number, like, 500 rounds for 300 special agents. Okay. So it's 580 rounds each for 300 special agents. 580 rounds. That's 11 rounds a week to go to the shooting range and shoot a target, almost enough to load your gun twice if it's a revolver. Shooting 2 targets to make sure you can actually hit the target accurately. And then the rest of the week you have the ammunition in the gun, and that's what you do as a security guard at the Social Security Administration locations that were dealing with people who would become angry or violent, or sometimes, they had to legally guard the place. If you're not aware of this, government locations sometimes are required to have an armed guard sometimes. Also, I should point out that Department of Homeland Security is literally an entity whose existence is based on defending the country and tracking down threats, and has been pressed into service for going after terrorists. But none of their agents should be armed, because it was exclusively a conservative meme about anybody working for the government has no right to have hollow point bullets, because they're against the Geneva Convention, even though video after video after video on YouTube will show you that if you're not carrying hollow point ammunition for self-defense, you're really, really putting yourself at risk. If your purpose of being able to fire a bullet to make a person stop attacking you is to do that, you need to use hollow point bullets, unless otherwise noted, out of a 9mm. And yeah, it was 9mm jacketed hollow point bullets. And people would put this up, even though, quote-unquote, conservatives are supposed to be Second Amendment advocates, and they're supposed to be competent in firearms and understand why a hollow point bullet is used. It's because it goes in whatever short distance it might make it, but it expands immediately, comes to a halt, and dumps its energy into the person and makes them stop. It may not kill them, but it will very likely make them stop attacking you, so you have time to run the hell away or clear a room or whatever. Or if you have to, keep firing and stop them permanently. But the point is, people were saying hollow point bullets fired by a government agent is somehow the work of the devil or something. And yes, 174,000 rounds among 300 special agents worked out to 580 rounds. And the thing is, you look at those numbers and you're like, that can't work. Okay, well, 3 times 5 is 15, and then add 2 zeros and then another 2 zeros. Okay, that works out. Okay, so it's 580 rounds each. That's 11 rounds a week. That's literally enough to go to go shoot a target once a week, or you're not doing it that often, but that would be the maximum they would think you would use. And at the time in 2012, one of the agencies had them go to the range every week and shoot a target at various ranges, so they would immediately shoot. Now we have the IRS that had, as of 2021, 78,000 full-time equivalent positions filled or to fill. That's a lower number than 2012. It's 13% lower, which means they have fewer people working at the IRS than they did 10 years ago. So Biden hiring a bunch of them, but for some reason increasing the number from 2021 by what looks like 11,000 employees means all of them are armed and they're coming for you. Or they're just hiring more employees. And did you know that the Internal Revenue Service is actually part of the Treasury Department? You know, the same department that had the untouchables that had to use firearms and deal with the mob. Not all tax evaders are like Donald Trump, who's an asshole but isn't going to actually shoot you. Some tax evaders are people you found out they were evading taxes because they're part of the mob and they're selling cocaine and shit. Some criminals are only accessible and only prosecutable because you can show that they haven't paid taxes and you can prove they have income. You may not be able to prove that they broke a law doing it, but you can prove they didn't pay their fucking taxes. Intelligent criminals actually pay their taxes because the Treasury Department is mind-fuckingly terrifying. Because they have carte blanche when it comes to showing up at your house or your large business or factory and just smashing a door in with a truck and driving in. Like literally right at, Sean Connery saying, we do it the Chicago way. They really do not give a fuck when they bash your door down. Treasury agents make the ATF look like a bunch of pussies sometimes. They don't have to do it very often. The reputation goes ahead of them, especially with people who are from other countries and may actually have had to deal with them. But the point is, they have on duty almost 80,000 people last year. But you don't think that some of them have to be armed in a Treasury Department subset, the Internal Revenue Service. Guess what else is a subset? Because it's tax-based, the ATF. But the ATF isn't supposed to have hollow points. They're not supposed to have rifles. They're not supposed to be able to defend themselves just being a doorman at a building. They're not supposed to be able to arm themselves when their literal job is to go find gun runners. And yes, the IRS, generally the Treasury Department, and definitively the ATF, actually do interlock with each other and sometimes have to show up at the same locations. They do have to be armed. And it doesn't matter if it's a desk job. Most of these people are desk jobs. Many people in the IRS, every once in a while, like once every couple of years, have to qualify with a firearm, or at least show that they can't. Because they need to know that, maybe. I don't know. It depends on what subset you're in. Anyway, a really small portion of the IRS is actually continually armed, and it's for the criminal division. But depending on what you're doing, you could be just some flunky pushing papers around and doing audits and have death threats against you. So they actually require that you know how to use a firearm, and they suggest that most of their employees, if they can in the area they're in, have the right to keep and bear arms, exemplified by actually having a fucking firearm. Because IRS agents, Treasury Department agents, ATF agents, and FBI agents get threatened all the time. You may have noticed recently that, by the way, this is backlash because of it. A bunch of conservatives have decided to threaten judges and agents from random departments with death because they're going after their god Trump. Their godhead Trump is being gone after because he committed actual fucking felonies. He's guilty of what he used to accuse Hillary of. In fact, the rule he helped author and signed as a law to go after Hillary Clinton, which never was able to be used against her, can be used against him very easily. And no, he can't just decide to make something not top secret anymore. That's not how it works. He has to inform people he's done it before he then takes things. He didn't do that. He's trying to write himself a check that he can't cash. And he can't do it long after he's been out of office. This is a reaction against the Biden administration supposedly attacking a previous president when Trump is being gone after by an agency that's doing it under basically the orders he gave them about anybody who absconds with information. Donald Trump committed a felony. He deserves to actually be punished for it. He won't. Every one of you knows he'll never get punished. Trust me, no one's ever going to punish Trump. Don't worry. But the claim that, yet again, like 2012, the U.S. government's going to come for you because hollow points? Because the IRS is hiring multiple people and they have to qualify with a firearm because they're like Treasury Department people. So like the ATF was technically at one point part of the Treasury Department. So we don't do it the Chicago way. A bunch of people out there who are gun rights activists, Brandon Herrera today did this. People out there who say that every American has the right to keep and bear arms and must be able to protect themselves if they feel like it. But suddenly, if you work for the U.S. government in any place like you're a letter carrier or work for the fucking IRS, you're not supposed to have a fucking handgun. You have to be disarmed. The fucked up part is in 2012, it was literally self-defense only ammunition. I mean, hollow point 9mm, the specific variety they were getting with the limited range they had were literally just useful for self-defense out of a pistol. That's it. That they're not offensive capability ammunition most of the time. I mean, nobody would do that for an attack on a building or trying to really even get through your wall in your house. This is self-defense ammo, and it was for agents of the Social Security Administration who worked the door as being a security people, or the Department of Homeland Security that literally have to defend us against terrorist attack. I mean, they've taken on that role, which I think is stupid. But anyway, training round math is that if you buy 150,000 rounds for 300 people, that's about 500 rounds for a year. That's a yearly contract. And actually, if you're not aware of it, in 2012, it wasn't a yearly. That was a bi-yearly, which meant they got 5 rounds a week or so. That's enough to shoot a target once a week and not really do a good job at it. But it legally makes it to where you can say you fired your gun that week. And that's for Department of Homeland Security, in case you're curious. It wasn't the IRS or Social Security that time. So yeah, the IRS is hiring more people because they're at a 13% reduction compared to 10 years ago, and they're trying to overcompensate for it. And yeah, some of them are going to be armed. And anybody in the U.S. government, I don't know if you know this, being part of the IRS doesn't mean that you're disarmed. And again, you gun rights advocates don't want government employees to be armed. That's what you're saying. You're saying disarm them. Because this meme needs to exist. Okay, this is what happened. This is a distraction story. Donald Trump legitimately got subpoenaed. He refused to provide evidence of information. They went in and raided his place because he wouldn't cooperate. If he'd just given the fucking files back, this wouldn't have happened. Donald Trump's an asshole, and I hope that he goes to prison because he's actually guilty as shit. If he'd given them the shit back, or didn't take it in the first place, none of this shit would have happened. But the story has to be run so that it can deflect. The IRS, or name that agency, has people being hired to kill everybody because meme. And Brandon Herrera is guilty of repeating this bullshit story. I don't care if he's doing a gun meme review. I think it's funny too. But the point is, he's contributing to this bullshit. This is literally a 10-year-old story recycled with new data. It's bullshit. Now, dear YouTube reviewer, I'm repeating a fake story from 2012 and 2022 that is not true because I'm debunking it, you nitwits. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that. And Brandon Herrera owes everybody an apology, especially himself. Yes, Brandon, if you're watching, which you're not, you repeated a lie. The whole point of a viral story that's a lie is to get other people to repeat a lie. You were duped. It's a lie. And yes, it's being done as a deflection because Donald Trump's guilty. He hasn't denied what he did. He just doesn't want to get punished for it. And he did it, if you're not aware of it, just to show that he could get away with it, which he can't. That's like a kleptomaniac kid stealing shit and trying to prove he can get away with it and whining when he gets caught. It's senseless and stupid, and some of you are going to have to realize that's literally Donald Trump in a nutshell now. He wasn't like that before. 20 years ago, he wasn't. Now he's a lost cause. Your God King needs to be dethroned. And yeah, that is what caused this story. Don't lie to me. But yeah, Brandon, you repeated a story that wasn't true in the first place. And worst part is, this is a recycled story from 2012. It's the same goddamn formula. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that.